Okay, trying to do a video late at night so I can get it out quickly before work tomorrow. Well, trying to be in the game against Costa Rica World Cup qualifier for the final round. Long story short, we lost 2-1 in a competitive match. We came second in our group. We're on to the next round. Um, we had a somewhat precarious time at some points on previous games against Grenada, for example, and against St. Kitts. People were worried about our defense in going up against the Costa Ricans in San Jose. Let's talk about this game. First of all, once again in World Cup qualifying matches, Trinidad has gone down 2-1 in Costa Rica in a competitive match. A far cry from what happened in the 90s and certainly post 2000, especially in the last 20 years. It was very normal to see Trinidad and Tobago on the defensive earlier clock, just being hammered by the Costa Ricans, sometimes conceding early, and just trying to counter these guys. This has changed. This has changed. We are finding ways to get through the defense. We're finding ways to handle the high altitude. And the Costa Ricans have begun to realize that Trinidad and Tobago is not a walkover guaranteed 3 points anymore in San Jose. You have to also understand that in all of CONCACAF, the two countries with perhaps the most impregnable record, and more recently as USA as well, Mexico and Costa Rica. And that's because at the Azteca and in San Jose, you play at high altitude. And not everybody can adapt to high altitude. And if it's bad in Costa Rica, it's much worse in Mexico City. And this is one of the reasons these guys have been so impregnable over the years. All right, I had to take a pause there to cough. All right, so let's talk about this game. Um, First of all, the first 20 minutes, Trinidad and Tobago more or less dominated. I was shocked. As I said, we usually get overwhelmed by the speed and the aggression of these guys at high altitude. No, we were the ones attacking. We were the ones with the better shots at goal. It took Costa Rica more than 20 minutes to get a good shot at goal. In Costa Rica, I remember around the 20th minute, 21st, telling a friend, boy, we're doing well. I wonder if we can keep this up. Well, I must have got the team because in the 23rd minute they scored. Um, the ball seemed to go straight at Marvin Phillips. He couldn't get a hand on it. Maybe that header came through faster than it looks on TV. But during the next few minutes, Marvin Phillips, and for the rest of the game, made some fantastic saves. 40 years old, he's still quite good. I thought Denzel Smith was unlucky to get replaced. I think Aaron Enel is unlucky not to be on the team, but Marvin Phillips is handling his business. This was a game of aged but experienced keepers. The Costa Rican counterpart, his name is Navas. This man is a legend in CONCACAF. He's played for Real Madrid. He's played for PSG. He's presently at 38 playing for Newell Old Boys in the Argentine First Division. So Costa Rica has some quality players. Guys playing in the Greek Super League. And a teammate of Levi's is Ukade is playing in for Spartak Moscow, and then they've got guys playing in Belgium and so on. So they've got some quality players on the team. Maybe not incredible by international standards, but when you compare them to what the leagues our guys come from. So the first 20 minutes, we were good. Then we conceded a goal, and then the Costa Rican started to come back in the game. Dante, well, he went from amazing in the first game to not so amazing in the second. I expected him to have a tougher time in Costa Rica, but I really thought the Costa Ricans would attack and Dante would get some space to make some counters. These guys must have done their homework because once Dante entered the final third, he had no space. He got one or two passes off, one shot early in the game that was off the mark. But in general, this was a poor game by his standards. Only, I think, his second game for Trinidad and Tobago. Bad day at the office, but we know he's a good player. Philip already talked about him. Daniel Philip, wow. Wow. This man was on the left, he was on the right, he was in the middle, he was breaking up plays. That man is an enforcer. We have some extremely gifted midfielders in Trinidad and Tobago. Um, Real Gill, Ovray, Muckett, somebody name I forget, John Paul Rushford. And I believe one of the reasons that maybe CD couldn't do as well is he needed some good service. He needed people to make some incredible incisive passes that could just bisect or dissect a defense. And our midfielders are good, but they're not that kind of distributors with a ball. But those midfielders are just called out there, especially Aubrey, Real Gill, and John Paul Rushford. They're small. They can't handle big men, and the Costa Ricans are not as big as the Americans, Jamaicans, and Canadians. But this guy Philip, nobody's manhandling him. This guy is as a keeper. He's a solid presence in the midfield, and he's everywhere. He's everywhere breaking up plays. I say Garcia didn't have a bad day at the office. I know a lot of people wanted him there. Some people got vexed. He gave away a stupid corner late in the game, but he didn't do that badly. Molino, again, not offensively the player he was, but he can still contribute, and he is not a liability in defense. This is so important. Levi was Levi, as usual. Levi. What else you want me to say? Tyrese Spicer continues to be wonderful on the left, and he was linking up with Levi very well as usual. This guy Spicer is big and strong, and these kind of performances, I'm sure clubs around the world are noticing. Don't be surprised if Tyrese get picked up by someone else. He was number one in the MLS draft for a reason. Carines, I had hoped when he would come on, and because he's got a nice sweet right foot, he could distribute a little bit, you know, maybe take some free kicks or something. Such was not the case. He didn't have a bad game, but I'd hoped to see something from him in terms of distribution and servicing the guys up front. I think Aubrey David, a lot of people agree, Aubrey David, who has played some top-notch football in Costa Rica and Guatemala over the last few years, was very unlucky not to be selected. But he's 34, no big deal. A lot of defenders go well into the mid 30s. Atiba Hutchinson from Trinidad was the best defender for Canada at the 2022 World Cup. Okay, he played for Besiktas, one of the top clubs in the Turkish Super League for 10 years, one of the top three clubs. Um, so maybe I'm thinking Dwight is just trying to give other players a chance, and Aubrey can be in the mix later. And sometimes a player helps you get to the World Cup, but that doesn't mean he plays in the World Cup. Um, Red card for Alvin Jones. I didn't see the foul. Maybe I blind. Maybe I need to go back and replay it. Looks like the player ran into him. I thought he was very unlucky. And when I saw us with the 10 men, I said, this is where we need a guy with speed and skill. Think Cornel Glenn coming off the bench when we had 10 men versus Sweden at the World Cup. Think a player like maybe Leonson Lewis, somebody who would take advantage of this piece because they would be pressing against 10 men. I was hoping maybe it would be Real Gill. Nathaniel James, good solid player. I think we did the best we could with 10 men, and so be it. This was not a bad performance. If you had looked at past Trinidad and Tobago performances in Costa Rica, if you look at how Caribbean teams get manhandled in Costa Rica, this was not a bad performance. Dwight Yorke has now had 4 games in about 2 weeks. Um, he will now go into Gold Cup very shortly. He'll have 3 games and hopefully get into the second round. To me, all this is just dress rehearsal for the next set of World Cup matches. This is where Dwight can try out things. I don't mind if we lose in the first round. I just want to see players getting a chance and the team progressing. Anyone who has followed Trinidad and Tobago football will tell you that we are in a better position now than we were 2 years ago. We are in a better position now than we were a year ago. All right, it's like a puzzle coming together. The previous coach and Yorke are slowly putting those pieces together. We have Cardenas. We have Raymond, who I think was unlucky not to get a game. We have Philip. We have I forget the fella name with a G, Ashim. Maybe I should pause and tell you all the name. Yeah, old age catching up with me. No damn G. Ajani Fortune doing very well. Dante Sealy is now there. Well, of course, we have Spicer. We were waiting on him for a while. We've got the young man from the Dutch First Division, and I'm hoping Dwight can find a chance for him to train with the team this summer just to see how he fits in. I think his two young other brothers are playing too lower level of football for us to really consider them. But that's up to Dwight, not up to me. And something tells me Dwight will find 2 or 3 new faces to bring onto this team. Um, over the next few months. I know everybody's talking about the Nigerian British fellow, Ubiku or whatever. I saw him against Jamaica. It was not a big deal. Yeah, don't judge him from one game. Let Dwight watch him train and take it from there. But we're slowly getting better. I'm just worried we run out of time. But the central midfield is improving. The defense is slowly improving. We're getting options, and there's no doubt that the offense is so much better than it was 2 years ago. It last Gold Cup, really besides Levi, we didn't have much to offer. Yes, we had Rion Moore, Nathaniel James, but I honestly believe that Rion Moore and Nathaniel James are better coming off the bench. So it's on to the Gold Cup. It's a great time to be a Trinidad and Tobago football fan. We've just had 4 games against quality opposition in the last 2 weeks, and now onto some more action in the Gold Cup. USA, Haiti, and Saudi Arabia. I'm looking forward to it. I'm wishing Dwight the best. We lost. We lost, and the moment I saw 10 men, I knew we were hard up. But at the end of the day, it was not a bad performance. In comparison to previous years. As I said, the pieces of the puzzle are slowly coming together. I hope we have enough time before the qualifiers start. Let's wish Trinidad and Tobago the best. So at the end of the day, it's Costa Rica 2, Trinidad and Tobago 1. Good luck to Dwight Yorke and the boys at the Gold Cup. God bless TNT football. God bless Dwight Yorke. God bless you.